Hi and welcome back to Picket YouTube channel. My name is Emily and I'm super happy that you decided to stop by today. For this video we're gonna take a closer look at a new stencil size that Picket fans are releasing. This large stencil is 6 by 8 and you can see the three new beautiful designs here on screen. So we have the Trapezoid spiral, a whole lot of polka dots, that's the one on screen here, and petals, that's the one with small flowers. And Picket fans are also releasing them in the other sizes that has been available in the past. So you can see there are three stencils here with the same, not the same exact design because some are scaled up and some are scaled down, but the same idea you can see here. So we have a slimline that is 4 by 6 and the standard 6 by 6 stencil as well. So whatever it's fitting your needs, Picket fans has it. But I have to tell you, I'm really digging the new size here, the 6 by 8. And I will be playing around with that for today's video. And you can see here I'm just taping it to the back side of a blue piece of cardstock here, and I have my swatches of all of my glazes and I'm just picking them and running it through the stencil. So my first paper glaze, it's from the Umbra series called Polar Ice Layers, and it's the one called A. It's really beautiful, and for this stencil I used the petals, and I was imagining them not looking like flowers or more looking like snowflakes, since I wanted like a winter card. So that's the idea behind this card, and that is why I used the tone on tone blue on blue here. So beautiful. I just love how smooth that ran through my stencil. And for my next one I used the Trapezoid spiral. That is a hard word for me to pronounce, I had to tell you. And I went in with the sponges and a couple of ink cubes here. I just used two colors, one really bright pink and one more muted yellow orangey color. So I just love how this turned out. And you can see that this design has a couple of like repeating patterns. So for those I used the pink, and for the other repeating patterns I used the orange yellow color. So I just like that this will actually enhance those parts of the stencil. And I didn't do this carefully at all. I wanted my colors to overlap slightly, so you will see that it's going to be looking like a hot mess before I remove the stencil, or more like dots in the pattern here. But when everything is removed you can see the pattern more clearly, and you will also see how this turned out. And I will also go in after I'm removing the stencil with the same colors over the top of them, just to tone down all of those white spaces between our lines there. So here you can see how it looks. It looks gorgeous as is, but I wanted to mute it down. You can see I'm not needing a lot of color here. I mess up on one place. You will see I go in too heavy-handedly with one of the yellow. You can see it there in the middle of the card, of course. Why am I always starting in the middle? I should have learned by now to always start at one of the edges. Oh well. So I will show you how I fixed that in a second here. But for our last card for today, I wanted to use all of these dots, and this is also the size 6 by 8 new size. And I used one of the new beautiful, or maybe it's not that new anymore, it's been around for I think 2 months, but it's so beautiful. It's this silver spoon color in the velvet line. I just love it. I just love. And I don't think even the camera is picking up how beautiful this silver is. It really is a product you have to see live to understand and appreciate, I think. Because here it looks more gray, but in real life it's like silver in a jar. Super beautiful. And here is just how I created my card bases for this card size. And it's 5 by 7, my card base. So it's slightly smaller than the stencil that is 6 by 8, and I will actually end up cutting down my card panels even more. So you can see this is the 5 by 7 double stitched layering rectangles that was released last month, and I took the second to largest of those dies, and that will give me a little bit of a halo or shadow between my card layer my card base and my layering piece here, just running that through my die cutting machine. And for the sentiment, I used the mini slimline stitched and scalloped die cutting system, and I cut it out twice from some foam, and then a pink cardstock just to tie it in with that design of our background. And I think this is a nice card to have in your stash, just a thank you card, and maybe that is a card that you can send out now after the holidays and everything, as a thank you for all of the festivities that has been going on. And I'm really digging this large this large font, and I'm just using some liquid glue to the back. You can use whatever liquid glue you have in your stash, and I'm just trying my best to line it up, not getting it crooked. And then I will go in with some embellishment on this as well. But before I do that, I wanted to show you how I did my next card here. So I cut a lot of these leaves that comes in the Layering Flora Leaves and Twigs die set. And I also cut down a circle that was released last month. And by the way, all of the products that I'm using in this video will be listed down below if I forget to say that. Just so you can check it out if you think I'm going too fast here in the video. And you can see I'm just creating sort of a focal point here, if you like, with my sprigs here or leaves, and I will use that as my focal point for this card. You can see our silver dots is really beautiful, and I forgot to mention, I think, that I used a light gray cardstock for that panel. I used to tie in with the dots. And for my hello here, I used a silver glitter cardstock as well as a black cardstock, just to give it a little bit of a shadow. So I offset them a bit just to create that. And that also comes in the 5x7 double stitched layering rectangle set, as we used for our card panel there. And I will use some double-sided foam squares to raise this up against our panel, just to create that nice lift. I think that always finished a card nicely. So there is our first card, and I will go in with some bling later. Our next card here is the one with the Petals stencil. I also cut it down with the same die. And I also cut with this beautiful large Let It Snow die. Perfect winter card and perfect winter sentiment, I think. It can be used all winter long. And I cut it out of some black foam as well as teal cardstock. This is one of my favorite colors, and I love how this turned out. You can see how nice that just looks with that large font on top of this. But when I looked at it, I was like, it isn't looking right. I have to turn my panel so it's a top folded card instead of a side folded, and that looks so much better to me. So I just adhered everything down, and then I will spruce it up a little bit more later. So for my first card that we created, a thank you one here, I will tuck in a couple of leaves that also comes in that same Layering Flora Leaves and Twigs die set. And for my Let It Snow card, I cut Snowflake out of vellum, and this snowflake is called what is it called? Give me a second. Snowflake Prism die. Yeah, that's the one. Snowflake Prism die. It was released also a couple of months ago, and I just tucked it around my sentiment, so I had something more going on there. And I give it some bling as well. This is the one all about greens, I believe. And then I also use the all about blues for my card here, and it's these beautiful sequence mixes in green, and there is the purple, pink and yellows, and a lot of other beautiful colors. So that was a closer look at the new size of stencils 6x8 and how you can use them to create 5x7 cards. And I have to tell you, I had a lot of fun creating these projects, and I hope you got inspired to create something as well. And if you was inspired by this, please let us know. Give us a thumb up on this video if you liked it. Leave us a comment. If there is something you're wondering, please don't hesitate to write a comment as well. Until next time, have a great day. Bye!